Hello, welcome to OCL Soundwave's newest podcast sequence, Splash with OCL. My name is Jessica. This new sequence will provide you with what is happening at the Ocean County Library. We will discuss book recommendations, new materials, upcoming events and programs, brief author talks, exciting news we would like to share with you, and other things worth mentioning going on within our library community. Here today I have Lori from Barnegat. How are you, Lori?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So today we'll be talking about the OCL Online Book Club. We talked about this in a previous splash, but we're going to start off the new year with a new book for this upcoming OCL Book Club. Go ahead, Lori.
Absolutely. So our current OCL Online Book Club, it started on January 5th and it runs through March 8th. And the book is called The Engineer's Wife by Tracy Enerson Wood. I think that's how you say her last name, Enerson Wood. And I'm just going to give you a little synopsis about the book, and this is it. Emily's fight for women's suffrage is put on hold, and her life transformed when her husband, Washington Roebling, the chief engineer of the Brooklyn Bridge, is injured on the job. Untrained for the task, but under his guidance, she assumes his role, despite stern resistance and overwhelming obstacles. But as the project takes place under Emily's direction, she wonders whose legacy she is building, hers or her husband's. As the monument rises, Emily's marriage, principles, and identity threaten to collapse. When the bridge finally stands finished, will she recognize the woman who built it?
So, Lori, you have read this book, or you were in the process of reading this book?
I'm in the process of reading it.
You're in the process.
Yep.
So how do you like it so far?
Well, I'm up to chapter 8.
Okay.
And I'm having mixed feelings about it.
Which is okay for any type of book that you're reading.
I want to love it so much because it's a historical fiction and it's one of my favorite genres of books. I'm just having a really hard time with the main character. I just feel like she's whiny and like like self-entitled, and but I'm going to give the book a chance because you know what? Anytime you read a book and you're the first few chapters in, sometimes the book just gets better and better.
And you're only in chapter 8, and I'm sure this is a pretty big book. Are you reading it a hard copy? Are you doing one of our online reading tools we have, such as Hoopla?
I started out reading it hard copy, and then I'm like, it might get more interesting for me if I listen to it. So I went into Hoopla and I downloaded it, and I'm listening to it on audio, which is helping because I can do other things while I'm listening to it.
Now, does she sound whiny when you're listening to it? Oh, okay. So maybe this is like the beginning part of the book. I haven't read it. I never got the chance to do it this month. I know we've talked about trying to do the book club together, so maybe we can next month.
Right. But the thing, also, the beginning of this book, it's really, they're just telling their story, like her life story and his life story and how they came together. So I'm hoping that when we get into like the crux of the book about what the book is really about, that she took over for her husband to build the bridge, I'm hoping that she takes charge, which I'm assuming she did.
I feel like with these books, I'm not a big historical fiction genre person myself, but with those first couple of chapters are more slower.
Yes.
Because they need to give you all the background detail and tell the story of that particular person.
And I think that's what's going on with that. And also, it is a historical fiction, but this particular person she was a real person.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time like wrapping my head around somebody speaking for this woman. Like they're not her words, but she was a real person.
Like for biographies, when you're doing an audiobook, usually the person that writes it, most times, not all times, is the one reading it. And those I would definitely consider listening to the audiobooks if it's that person actually talking with their book.
I can give you a couple recommendations.
Ooh, that's exciting. With the online book club, we discussed in the past that there's an online forum. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What does that entail? Are you involved with the forum, or you kind of just read the book?
I go in and I'll make comments, but there's a moderator, and what happens is when you go into the forum, there's a lot of questions and answers going on. The moderator will usually throw a question out, and everybody can post on it and make comments, and that's sort of how you make friends over the internet that way, by discussing things. And they ask some random questions that have nothing to do with the book, but it gets you.
Do you know one of the random questions off the top of your head?
Yeah, one of them was, if you were stranded on a desert island and could only bring one book, which would it be and why?
Okay, that is I feel like it's a random but so typical question for many people to ask, and I don't even have an answer to that question.
It's difficult.
It's a hard one. I mean, as a librarian, I read constantly. I'm thinking right now while I'm talking, I can't even think of one right now. But are there any other questions that relate to the book that you can think of off the top of your head?
So the first question they actually asked about the book was, when you think of The Engineer's Wife right now, what do you think? So basically they're asking, wherever you are at the point in the book right now, what do you think about it?
And you just kind of told us that you're not
I've
sure.
told you I
She's
haven't
a
written it on the
whiny.
forum. I haven't put it on the forum, but I may. Nah, people have
I've
mixed,
agreed with you?
Yeah, some
Okay.
people have some mixed
Okay.
feelings, so it's I'm not alone.
Okay, that's good.
Which
That's
is
good.
nice to know, but hopefully it just continues to get better. It's well written. I mean, I'm not shaming the author or anything. I'm just getting this bad vibe from the
And
main
you really
character.
haven't provided any spoilers yet
No.
either, because I am
I don't know
still-
them.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
I
really
haven't-
don't. But just our audience that is listening, the first 8 chapters are kind of more
Yes.
of an introduction to the story and get you more involved in
Correct.
the background of each character.
But there is a spoilers board. So if you have read
Oh.
ahead and you do want to go in and tell people what's going on, or if you want to know what's going on.
Yeah, sometimes
I
I'm
don't
like
do-
that with my books. If I'm in a series and I just need to know, I don't like flip through. I just go to the last page
do
and
that
read
too.
the last page. And sometimes you're like, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. And you're like, oh no, why'd I do that? I'm guilty.
I do that. I jump ahead chapters, so I can, like, if something's happening in a particular chapter, I'm like, I have to jump ahead so I know what actually happens, so then I can continue to read. I don't know why I do that.
I'm the same way. I have a friend who's an avid reader just like me, and we always share books and recommendations. And I think it builds our anxiety to not know, which makes us read faster. And I feel like it doesn't sink in enough for me. So that's why I feel like we go ahead to
Maybe,
read a little
yeah.
bit. We get very emotional with our books.
I guess so. Part of me wants to go into the spoilers board because I just want the guarantee that it's going to
gonna
get
be
better.
a worth read.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, you were very happy with the last book we read for the online book club. I don't remember what it was called, but you can check it out from the past splashes Lori and I have done on our podcasts. Well, I mean, it sounds like to me that the book obviously is a work in progress, and I think you'll like it in the end.
I think so, because it is historical fiction. Like I said, it's one of my favorite genres. So set aside her, I'm really curious about how she got involved in helping to build the Brooklyn Bridge. And I'm really interested in really knowing all that happened with the building of the Brooklyn Bridge.
My last question for you about this: have you read any other book from this author in particular?
I have not. I might have to dig into her and see,
What other ones she has?
Yeah, what other. This actually, though, I think this might be her first novel.
Oh, okay.
I think she's written other things, and I think she's written nonfiction. But I
Okay.
think this is her
It's her
first
first.
novel, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, the book club takes place every 2 to 3 months. The text selected will be a variety of fiction and nonfiction and should take an average of 9 hours to read cover to cover. If you have between 1 to 2 hours a week, you should be fine. There is a reading schedule for 2024 when the next online book club comes out. There's also a suggested reading schedule for some of you who want to get on a schedule of reading, or you're starting a New Year's resolution for this year and want to try to read as many books as you can. For the current book we're in now, by January 5th, you should reply to the before the book questions. Now, what is the before the book question, Lori, for those who's listening?
So that's just to kind of get you comfortable with the forum.
Okay.
So the question about if you were stranded on a desert island, like
Okay.
just those random
Okay.
questions, just to kind of get you used to the
It always kind of reminds me of an online class, like an open
So,
discussion.
Yeah, that's kind of what
That's
it
what
is.
it kind of reminds me of. So going back to the suggested reading schedule we have available for you, again, post to the before the book question on January 5th. By January 19th, you should finish reading about chapter 8, which is kind of where Lori is right now. By January 26th, you can finish reading through chapter 16. By February 2nd, finish reading through chapter 24. By February 16th, finish reading through chapter 32. And by February 23rd, finish reading the book and comment in the after the book discussion topic, which I'm assuming is like the last discussion posting for the book when you finish, correct?
Yeah, they go on. They continue a little bit after that book discussion. Some people will start their own questions and keep going into it.
So like you said, if you could do about 8 chapters a week, maybe 1 chapter a night, you'll pretty much be on schedule with the
I think
online
so.
book club. I kind of like that suggested reading schedule. For some people who are very precise with their scheduling and keeping on a track with a routine, that could really help them. Even if it's just a chapter a night, or you wake up in the morning and you need to read a chapter before work. Participation is free for anyone with the Ocean County Library card. All you need to do is to access the book club is go to Ocean County Library's website, and under Books and More, you will see a drop-down menu. Select Online Book Club and click on the button to either sign in or join. It's that simple. You will then have access to the forum. The book club will have a moderator from BC Guru who manages the forum where the discussions occur online. This is the forum that Lori's been talking about throughout our discussion of the book. And then there are several platforms in which you can access the book in case you were wondering. The titles are available in print and audiobook through our library website and digitally through Overdrive and Hoopla. All other participants or library patrons who prefer a different format can get a physical or digital copy. But do you have anything else to say, Lori, about this book in particular, or just...
I would like to talk about, just tell you, the online book club is just such a great platform. You may come where you see the book and you're just not interested in reading it. And the only thing I can say about that, if you really do want to follow a book club, just read it. Just, and if you don't think it's for you, like I'm really having mixed feelings about this particular book, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I really do like the discussions as well, and it kind of just keeps you engaged, even if you don't find the book to be that.
And you really have a lot of time. You have about 3 months. Usually book clubs that I've been introduced to or approached by outside of the library, they only give you a month.
They're a month at a time.
I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people
Especially
don't.
if, like you're saying, you're still having mixed feelings about a book or it's super slow. You struggle to get to the next page or the next chapter, but
yes,
OCL Book Club does give you quite a bit of time, which is nice.
They do, and the forum is so good because if you are struggling, you have other people in the community that shed some light on the book, and even if you can even type in, I'm struggling with this book, and you'll get, somebody will give you a word of encouragement, or say it's going to get better, and you just keep going.
It's literally a book club in person, but online.
Online, exactly.
Thank you again, Lori, for joining us and talking about the online book club. And we really appreciate it, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and emotions about the books that we currently have up. Again, the book was The Engineer's Wife by Tracy Anderson Wood. And thank you all for listening and splashing away with us for the Ocean County Library. Visit our website and follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things OCL. Thanks again, Lori.
Thank you.